And it looks like we're live. Hello there. All right, I'm just going to confirm on my phone here as usual. Here we go. We are indeed live. Well, thank you for joining another weekly Analytics Office Hours. Always a pleasure to get to join and answer your questions. That's what we're here for. Whether it's a technical question you have, maybe something with Power BI or SQL or Python or any of those other great analytics tools, and you're running into errors, I'm here to help. You might have questions about how to improve in analytics soft skills like communication and leadership, project management, attention to detail, and beyond. And I'm here to help with techniques that can help you improve in those areas as well. And finally, you might have some questions about your analytics career in general. You're here, you want to be here, you don't know how to get there. Well, let's talk about that. I'm happy to provide advice. So regardless of what your questions are, please just put them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them as best I can. Now, as usual, disclaimer, don't include any personal information or any sensitive information about the company that you work for. Just keep it really high level, right? Remember, these are going to get posted online for everyone to see, so you don't want to include anything that you wouldn't be comfortable posting online. So just keep that in mind. So please put your questions in the chat, and I will try to answer them. Now, as usual, if we don't have any questions, we will go into a prepared topic, and we have in the last session or two been going through the Value-Driven Analytics YouTube channel, talking at a very high level about each one of the videos that we've published in the past, so that you know which ones you might want to prioritize watching. So if we don't have any questions, we will indeed go into that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bring up our Value-Driven Analytics channel here. Here we are on Value-Driven Analytics. Just keeping an eye on the chat here. All right, so here's our channel. We've been talking through, I talked through this already, but I really recommend if you are new to analytics, you want to get a high-level overview of some of the most popular tools and techniques, go through this definitive guide to data analytics playlist. I've invested a lot of time in creating this so that you can just go, there's 7 videos plus an introduction here. You can just go through these and get a really good introduction to analytics, to Excel, Power BI, your visualization tool, Python, your advanced analytics tool, SQL, your core data manipulation tool, data science, building predictive and prescriptive models, and some of those soft skills we were talking about as well, and how to get your first analytics role, how to progress in your analytics career, how to even break into management as well. So please, if you're new to data analytics, check out this series. All right, we talked about how we've got videos specifically designed for leaders of analytics teams or people who aspire to be a leader of an analytics team. We've got videos on analytics and data science soft skills, different things about what a career path could look like in these areas and ways to build your career. All playlists with multiple videos on these different topics. Data analytics and data science techniques, regardless of what your tool you're using. What are some different ways that we analyze data? You'll see a lot of different techniques featured there. Talked last time through some of the project walkthroughs. If you just want to say, okay, I get it, you use tools like Python and SQL, I get it, you use techniques like A/B testing and data science, but what does that actually look like? Can you give me an example of what it looks like to get an analysis request and perform an analysis? Yes, we can. Quite a few. They're in this playlist. And then the last thing we started to do was kind of go through these playlists that are around a specific concept So Excel, Power BI, SQL, we kind of have trainings designed for those particular tools. We kind of stopped at SQL. We have a lot of SQL training from the beginner course that's including the definitive guide to data analytics, doesn't assume any prior knowledge, to some intermediate and advanced videos as well. So if you want to learn SQL, go through that playlist. You'll be at a very good point. Still a few things that probably doesn't cover, but it covers the vast majority of what an analyst would use in their career. So check that out. Let's talk about the Python training. And specifically, I call this Python training for analysts in data science because Python, unlike SAS and R, the three advanced analytics tools, Python is a general purpose language. And so you've got website developers and video game developers, application developers that are also going to be using Python. So if they're wanting to learn Python from that angle, some of this could be relevant, but it's really these are especially geared, our whole channel is geared toward analysts and data scientists. So in this playlist, we talk about how to use Python specifically for data analysis and data science. But if you're thinking about which language to learn, and you think there could be a likelihood that maybe I would want to build a website or build an application or a video game with Python, choosing a general purpose language like Python that can do the data analysis and data science, but also some of those other things as well, pretty much anything you can come up with. If you can dream it, you can code it. Consider Python. So let's take a look at this playlist here. All right. So it starts off with our pretty comprehensive introduction to Python, again, from a data analytics perspective, how to manipulate data in Python. We also include the video that's also included in the SQL playlist, but it shows how to join tables together, how to merge tables together, kind of vertically merge them together to get more columns, or sorry, I should say horizontally merge tables together to get more columns, or join tables together. And also this union or concatenation where you vertically merge tables, you stack tables on top of each other, how to do that. But we cover it for both SQL and Python using the Pandas package. The Pandas package is one of the most popular packages for data manipulation in Python. So we cover that. And then we also have our data science video as well, because that's done in Python. So we show, in particular in this video, how to predict who's going to win a college football game. Just an example, you don't have to be a college football fan to appreciate this, but we walk through how to build a predictive model in this video, and we use Python to build and assess and score games in that video. So another very relevant video for Python. We have an overview of Python. We have an overview of a lot of tools, even the ones we don't go into detail on, like Alteryx and KNIME, Tableau. We've got high-level overviews of those, even though we don't do granular trainings. We end up pursuing other tools when we do our kind of big trainings, like in the definitive guide to data analytics. So in this case, Python. But we have overviews of SAS and R and these other tools as well, just so you as an analyst can be aware of them and know where they fall in the context of things. So if you see it on a resume or hear someone talking about it, you kind of say, oh yeah, R SAS, that's kind of similar to Python. Tableau, that's kind of similar to Power BI. So you're aware of it. So we have one of those for Python. So if you don't have a lot of time, you just want to know a 4-minute overview of what Python can do. Maybe you're looking at that before you jump into the Python training. Check that out. And then we have a few other videos here as well. Some on ChatGPT. How can you generate code, Python code in particular, and do data analysis? So ChatGPT uses Python behind the scenes. So we kind of go into that. So all videos that are related to Python. If that's what you're trying to learn, check out this playlist. All right, let's go back to our main screen.
I'm Brian Amrine with Value Driven Analytics, and in today's training...
There we go. Okay, so then we've got a data science training playlist, and as you can imagine, it's all about data science, learning data science algorithms. And it starts with that one we were just talking about, the college football prediction. That really is our deep dive into, hey, I don't have any experience in predictive modeling. We do everything from putting together the data set, feature engineering, creating the input variables that will be used to predict something, building the predictive model, actually building the regression model, doing a lot of transformations to get our regression model in a good shape, testing the accuracy of it, and then applying it so that we can predict for an upcoming game who's going to win the game and by how much. And that's just the scenario that this is based on. You can take the same kind of code, high level, and these techniques for sure, and apply it to any other predictive challenge that you're facing. So we cover a lot of really good concepts there, and do some coding, and just use college football as a use case. We have a 3-minute overview of data science, from the simple regression modeling to the more advanced neural networks, and just talk through predictive versus prescriptive modeling. Very quick overview. Again, if you only have 3 minutes, you're thinking about maybe taking this longer training, it's almost 5-hour training, maybe you start with the data science overview. And if you are a data analyst or starting from scratch and you want to learn to become a data scientist, we have a 2-step video to help you get there. Now, it'll provide a lot more granular recommendations, but I'll summarize what those 2 steps are right here, so save you some time. It's learn data science by watching videos. I recommend this one, but there's a lot of other good ones out there too. Introduction to Statistical Learning. That's a PDF that is free online, Introduction to Statistical Learning, and there's an R version and the Python version. I'd recommend the Python version. That can also really help you learn data science as well. And there's a lot of other good tools out there too. So learn, that's step 1. There's a lot baked into that you can learn more about in this video. And second step is apply. And believe it or not, a lot of people who want to become data scientists spend all their time learning, which is a good place to start. Spend some time there. But then you got to quickly get into the application phase. Take what you've learned, actually apply it to a real business challenge or just even a personal question you have. That is key. That is really where you probably get 80% of what you ultimately learn is through applying and seeing things for yourself and seeing what works and what doesn't. You got to start with maybe a video or two or a book or two, but then you quickly need to get into the application phase. And there's a lot of people that just want to watch videos over and over and over again, all kinds of videos, and they never get to the application stage. And it's going to be hard to become a data scientist without some real application, because that's what you're going to be doing on the job. You're going to be applying, not just learning. So keep that in mind, and maybe consider checking that out if you're interested in becoming a data scientist. Now, if you would like to see some shorter videos, we've got a lot of really quick, 1-minute tidbits on different aspects of data science listed here as well. We have some examples of data science challenges, like at a high level, how you could use data science to build a model that ranks customers for your sales force on terms of which ones are most likely to buy or most likely to benefit from a sales call, or how you could use it to assess the impact of different types of marketing spend, to assess where you're getting a good ROI and you should maybe spend more on those marketing channels, and where you should spend less. A lot of times there's a data science model behind that to really figure out which channel is driving the most sales. Lots of short videos in here. And we have a few other ones from our analytics lifecycle series that relate to data science. We talk about artificial intelligence here, how an LLM, a large language model, would be created in ChatGPT, and we actually go through that by asking ChatGPT how it was created. So that's kind of an interesting video. Slowly changing dimension tables. We go through that concept here in an example, and those are so important to have available when you're building a data science model. in order to avoid data leakage. When you're building a data science model, you do not want to consider any information that you didn't have at the time of prediction. So if we're predicting, we have to predict something. When we're training our model, we need to train on a period that's already occurred. So maybe we are training to predict February. Well, if we're predicting February, we can't use any data that wasn't available as of the beginning of February, our prediction period. We need to only look at January information and prior. If you were to include February information, that would be considered data leakage. And your model might look good when you're training it, but as soon as you start applying it, the accuracy is not going to be what the training model would have suggested, and your model could actually add no value at all. So slowly changing dimension tables, they capture historical changes so that you can recreate a snapshot as of a certain day. And so that's why we have that as part of this data science playlist as well. A/B testing is in here as well. A lot of times when you create a model, you want to figure out what the benefit was. And so one of the best ways to figure out what the benefit of anything as a marketing initiative or a sales initiative or even a data science model that you've just created is to A/B test it. Maybe a randomly selected 50% or so are going to start using your model, and the remaining 50% are going to use an old model or use no model at all if this is the first time you're deploying it. And after you do that, especially if the groups are randomly selected, that's key when you're doing an A/B test. You be able to figure out what the change is across those two groups, what the difference is, and that would be attributable to your model. And you can really tell how much benefit your model drove. So A/B testing goes really well after, especially once you've built your model and you're ready to deploy it. It's a great way to figure out what the benefit is of your model. Now, a lot of times, data science models, you build it, they just get rolled out to everybody. And maybe that's, in some scenarios, A/B testing may not be practical. But if you really want to tell what the benefit was, and especially if you already have a model in place and you want to see whether your new model is actually better, actually drives more value, consider A/B testing it for a while. And then if it does prove to do better, roll it out to everybody at that point. That's a good mechanism for just about any business change, is to do an A/B test. All right, so that's our data science playlist. There's a lot in there. So if you're an aspiring data scientist, definitely consider checking that out. All right, then we've got our analytics and data science soft skills, and we've kind of gone over that right up here, so we don't need to go through that again. Then we've got our playlist for different functional areas. So our first is, if you are a marketing analyst or want to become a marketing analyst, check out this playlist. Maybe you're a marketing leader and you want to know what's possible. We talked about how you can build a data science model, often called a media mix model or a marketing attribution model, to figure out what the impact of different types of marketing spend is on sales. That's a pretty good place to start. Very important to know that, so you can invest more in the marketing initiatives that have a positive return on investment and less on the ones that have a lower return on investment. And then how to assess the impact of a marketing campaign. So this is a little bit more granular and a little bit more specific. And there's all kinds of marketing campaigns out there. This is very popular for direct mail tests. Again, might do an A/B test where randomly select a group that's not going to receive a direct mail or email touch point, and then the other group does, and you monitor the difference. So if you can set up any marketing initiative as an A/B test, that's ideal. But in some cases, it's not set up as an A/B test. Maybe it just wasn't intentional. It could have been, but it wasn't set up intentionally in the past. And so now you're left with something that was deployed to certain people. And so sometimes you might face selection bias with that. The participant of a marketing campaign may have selected themselves, and they may be just very different profile than your typical customer. And so you've got to control for that. And there's something called a synthetic control model that can help you after the fact. Man, it would have been great to set up an A/B test so we could have gotten a clean read, and it surely would have been a better read than anything else you could have done. But it is what it is. It wasn't set up as an A/B test, and now we're left with some selection bias. There were certain people that decided to go, others that didn't. We know they're very different. What can we do with that? Can we try to figure out what the impact was, even though we didn't set up an A/B test? Maybe we'll do that next time. But this is what happened for this campaign. What can we do with it? Well, that could be a good use case for a synthetic control model, where you really you have to tease out the selection bias as much as possible by controlling for factors that you knew about as of the marketing event or as of the marketing campaign. Again, preventing data leakage. So you're trying to control for these factors, which is what a lot of models do, especially a regression model. When you include additional variables, it controls for those. And so it can maybe not perfectly remove the selection bias, but it can really help remove some of that. So those are just a couple of marketing analytics projects that you can do. Let's take a look at the sales side of things. So we've got a whole playlist of sales projects that you might tackle here. First one, how can you use analytics and really data science to help a sales team prioritize who to contact that day? That's a good use case for a data science model. Now, there's also the reporting side of things. What's a good way, if you were to ask to build a sales dashboard, what are some things to consider? So you might want to not just look at sales over time, but you might want to look at year-over-year growth to control for seasonality. You probably want to have filters for customer attributes and your different time periods that people might want to break down sales by, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and beyond. You might want to be able to compare to last year, but potentially a goal that the sales team has as well that they might be being paid on. And geographies that you'd want to break things down by. You might want to see which of all the customer attributes and the product attributes and the geographical attributes, which ones have had the highest change over some time period, and perhaps the highest change in a year-over-year growth over some time period. So all different kind of concepts that you might want to include in a dashboard if you were just asked to provide visibility to sales performance, right? Really high-level challenge. Sometimes they'll give you very specific things that they want to see. You could certainly ask for that. Or, maybe you're just given a high-level challenge and it's up to you to be creative and think about what would be helpful for your sales force. Check out this video for some ideas. So just a few ideas. Let's get out of that. A few ideas for sales projects. How about finance? Maybe some of you are financial analysts. I'll tell you this, more and more analytics is being applied to the finance space, but I've tended to find that finance, maybe supply chain as well, but especially finance, they're still using a lot of Excel. And it makes sense in some ways because Excel is a really good tool for having your input cells and that you might need to update to test different scenarios. And then your model kind of flows all from that. Excel's really good for that type of thing. And a lot of times that is what financial analysts are doing. But in some cases, they're building reports that are manually being updated and sent out, and they're in Excel. That could be a good use case for maybe shifting that into maybe a combination of SQL or Power BI or just Power BI, maybe some Python. Boy, if you're a financial analyst and you can learn those skills, you could really differentiate yourself by building things in an automated way that your peers are doing in a manual way. So if you want to differentiate yourself, I think there's a lot of opportunity to do that with more technical data manipulation skills by learning those in the finance space especially. Sales and marketing, those tools are very important too, but won't necessarily be differentiated. You probably need to learn these just to keep up with most marketing and sales analysts out there that are probably already using an interactive visualization tool like Power BI or Tableau and SQL, and maybe depending on the organization you're at, Python and data science might differentiate you there. But a lot of sales and marketing analysts tend to already be using those kind of coding coding skills. Whereas a lot, it's just generalization, but a lot of finance analysts are not necessarily using those. So we start off the playlist here, and of course you can skip around with a lesson on net present value. Now, even if you're not a financial analyst, net present value could add a lot of value to your role, especially when you're calculating return on investment. It's this idea that future cash flows are not worth as much as a cash flow today, because if you had the cash today, you could invest it and have more in the future. So there's this discounted rate that's really important when you're calculating investments that are going to have especially a longer term payoff. If you're getting the payoff in the next year or two, then maybe it's not as big of a deal. But if you're planning on investing something that you expect to have returns over 5-10 years, you need to discount those future cash flows to really do a proper analysis. We talk about how to use Excel to build an investment banking model or a financial forecasting model where you can actually forecast the financial statements, the balance sheet and the income statement of a company, depending on whether they take an action you're recommending. So we walk through a scenario that an investment banker might face where they're talking with a company about maybe purchasing another company. And what that would do over time, we're forecasting their balance sheet and their and their income statement and how those relate to each other based on some assumptions of buying that company. And you can basically use this to kind of create a proposal for them and say, look, here's what we think would happen. Here's our assumptions. And here's what your income statement and balance sheet would look like if you don't do the change versus if you do. That's pretty neat. So check that out if you're interested in that. If you have any interest in investment banking or doing anything like that, you might enjoy this second video here. We teach how to create that from scratch in Excel. Well, I think everybody, hopefully a lot of people, can appreciate this third one, how to build a budget in Excel. So something where you create a goal, and then eventually in part 2 here, how you not just create a goal over time, maybe a goal by year, or by month, so you can kind of forecast, well, if these assumptions continue, we should be at this amount of savings in 5-10 years. So you can kind of plan out based on some assumptions. You never know what'll happen, but forecast that out. And then part 2 here kind of updates it to include a section for actuals, so that you've established this goal and now you're monitoring your actual spend and income by category. And you can see where you're off the most from what you had planned, so that if you're off track of your savings goal, you can diagnose, oh, yeah, we only budgeted this much for expenses and this has been a lot higher. So now you can identify that and perhaps respond accordingly. So those are a couple of good videos that go together in terms of creating a budget that you can track your spending against in Excel. Then we get into SQL, in the sense that, again, SQL is a great tool for financial analysts to learn that can really differentiate them and make your data manipulation as a financial analyst different, more automated, more reusable, and maybe make you a more efficient financial analyst. But the reason I include this here is actually it deals with and uses as its use case a financial topic. We look at the impact of weather when the day's nicer versus not, the impact of that on stock market performance. So consider checking that out if you're interested in any kind of stock analysis. We do that in Python, but we show how to write SQL code within Python to assess and analyze the stock market performance. And you might have other things that you want to analyze related to the stock market performance. Maybe start out with this video and you can take this code, it's downloadable from the website, and modify it to meet your stock market use case. We have some code that we can actually download stock market data through Python, through a free Python API. That's pretty neat. One of the things that financial analysts are sometimes often tasked with, is assessing an investment. And so we have a video here on one thing executives should do before making an investment. It applies to any kind of executive, and especially financial analysts that are often helping executives make those financial investments, you want to, just again, spoiler alert, you want to invest in an analysis that assesses that investment and the benefit it would have before making it. And perhaps as a financial analyst, that's your job. So in this video, we're making a pitch to executives that they need to work with someone like you to assess it before just jumping in and going for it, that investment. And then, like some of the other the other playlist here, we've got a few short videos on different concepts. All right.
Do you need to understand net present?
Let's go to our next playlist here. So our next functional area, we talked about marketing, sales, finance. We actually have a good number of videos that deal with college football. So if you are a college football fan at all, oh boy, we've got so many videos here for you. You can learn these tools with a fun use case that perhaps resonates a lot with you. So first one, again, is our data science model. We are predicting who's going to win a football game. And then we also deal with that in our Power BI dashboard training. We, over the course of 5.5 hours, we build using some basic and intermediate Power BI functionality. That's what we're teaching through this video. But we do it while building a college football dashboard that you can use to pretty much calculate just about any metric you want to calculate as it relates to win rate between different teams. So if you're a college football fan, I think both of these you'll find interesting. We show how to do even a little bit of simple college football analysis, not as deep as especially the Python data science video goes, but we show how to do some basic college football analysis in Excel in this video. And then we have a college football machine learning in ChatGPT, where we take this same kind of problem here, but we try to get ChatGPT to do some of these things for us and kind of do a college football analysis for us. So if you're interested in how you can work with ChatGPT on that, check that out. And then I try to give a motivation right before the right before the big football game. We do some motivation on how your analytics career could relate to college football. So check that out if that sounds interesting to you. And then we also, Gary and I go into college football data set, and we talk about this interaction between analyst and IT through the scenario of doing a college football analysis. And I am the analyst. I'm facing some trouble understanding why IT set up this college football database the way they did, but Gary comes in and explains it to us. And so we have a good back and forth in that video. So all these videos are related to college football. If you're a college football fan and you want to learn analytics, oh boy, this is the playlist for you. I think that's a pretty unique cross-section, although sports analytics is becoming more and more popular. But if you like analytics and data science, you gotta check out this playlist. All right.
Do you want to learn the backbone that
Close out of that. So we've gone through kind of these functional area or topic playlist. Now we're going to get into just some other playlists we haven't talked about yet. So believe it or not, you can take analytics and you can turn it into a poem or a song, music. And that's exactly what we do in this playlist. And we actually have 3 videos in here already, maybe more to come. We've got an a cappella song, that's right, no guitar, no drums, nothing like that. It's all just different versions of me here, as you can see, trying to keep it consistent as much as possible, creating some harmony. And check it out if you're just interested in maybe a good laugh, and also hearing some analytics topics in a song. And then right around Valentine's Day, I created this song that is about, it's an acoustic guitar song, and it's about a data table, lonely data table, lonely database, and it meets Power BI, and oh boy, the sparks just fly. So check out that one if you're looking for a good laugh as well. And we have a short video on different types of SQL jokes as well. And one of them includes an acoustic guitar, a very short section about SQL, a very short SQL song there. It's kind of a joke. So check those out if you're looking to, again, this unique cross section of analytics and now music. Very unique cross section. But there are some other videos on YouTube that are pretty creative and pretty interesting to watch as well. So that's our analytics, songs, and data science music. And then we get into ChatGPT tutorials. This one's interesting. If you just want to know about ChatGPT, maybe you haven't used it much at this point, you want to know how it could help you, especially from a data analyst perspective. But I also go into a lot of other use cases for it as well. Check out this tutorial, just a good starting point. And then, especially of interest for someone who's an analyst or aspiring data scientist or a data scientist, and you want to learn the more advanced neural network algorithms, the kind that are behind the scenes of music identifiers, sound image detection, sound detection, and natural language processing, especially large language models like ChatGPT. We asked ChatGPT how it was created as a large language model, and we really learn a lot about neural networks through the process. So it's kind of a neat way to learn by asking the AI how AI is created. And then this is kind of a joke here, ChatGPT comedy, as you see. But it's this idea of as you start using ChatGPT and asking it different kind of questions, if you're like me, you'll get the sense of, wow, ChatGPT almost always compliments me on my idea, and it almost always starts by affirming my idea. Is there ever a point where ChatGPT would say, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't do that. I know you're asking about how to do this. Maybe that's a bad idea. That's what we kind of try to assess through this video. And it's pretty funny what ChatGPT will and won't push back on, especially some of the things it won't really push back on as much. It's quite surprising. It's maybe not realistic of a conversation you'd have with a friend, or at least a good friend in some cases. So it's just a kind of a funny video. But this one could really be very practical for you as an analyst or data scientist. How can you use ChatGPT to generate and troubleshoot your code? Boy, this can really improve your efficiency. I highly, highly, highly recommend this, especially if you're trying to generate code with Python or any kind of code. You've got to check this video out. It can really help your efficiency. Now, ChatGPT also claims to be able to do data analysis, and it can to some extent. Again, it can help you create some good starting code for an analysis, but you've got to check it. We talk about that in this video. You've got to check the code behind the scenes and the results, but it generally does a pretty good job with that. Some nuances that it can take into consideration that are surprising that an AI would be able to figure out. But in other cases, it can make some mistakes. So you really still need that analytical thought process. Have ChatGPT give you a good start, but then look over the code, and you might need to kind of iterate from there. And of course, you've got to be the one that asks the question, kind of tell ChatGPT sometimes how to do the analysis. In some cases, it'll just go ahead and make an assessment of the best approach to take. And a lot of times it does a good job. Sometimes it misses some things. And we do that through college football analysis, but you can ask ChatGPT to do any kind of data analysis. But be careful with all of these videos not to include any personal or company sensitive information that you wouldn't want ChatGPT to make available to others through its training process. That's really important. Now, there are some versions of ChatGPT, maybe the organizational versions, where they don't use your data for training, but you need to make sure with your IT department and your manager that it is okay to use ChatGPT under what settings. So keep that in mind, that anything you feed to it could be used for training and could be ultimately sent as a response to other users, perhaps. All right. And then image detection is another thing that both DALL-E, which is ChatGPT's version of an image detection or image creator, uses, but also Bard. So that's Google's version of AI. I think they've renamed it now, but these two, we kind of compare them to see which one provides the best image, or just some of the differences in image detection across these two. And we have a lot of fun with it. We create some maybe typical images that you might include in a PowerPoint, but then we also create some images for things that are just fun, like a giraffe doing analytics. So if you want to learn some of the do's and don'ts, I go through some of what I've picked up on when using these two tools for creating images. There are some just do's and don'ts and just capability gaps between the two. For instance, Bard tends to generate more realistic images that just look like someone took a photo. You're really not going to get that with DALL-E. You're going to get what they call photorealistic images that look a little cartoonish. So if that's not okay, you probably want to use Bard instead, for instance. But then DALL-E tends to have a little more flexibility and will create some very creative images, I think, compared to Bard. So they have pros and cons for sure. And then ChatGPT can actually help you figure out what you're having for dinner tonight based on what's in your refrigerator and what's in your pantry. I want to say that there used to be refrigerator and camera applications, or phone applications that were dedicated to helping you figure that out, or maybe you feed it the number of ingredients. Well, imagine again ChatGPT. It's got these powerful large language models and artificial neural networks behind the scenes, artificial intelligence neural networks behind the scenes. And so if you take a picture of your fridge, it can, through image detection, figure out what is in your fridge. And same thing with your pantry. So now, just by taking a simple picture rather than inputting all your ingredients, it can kind of figure out what you've got on hand. Then it can compare that to recipes and figure out, okay, what ingredients could go into this. And you can give it some guidance, like I want something Italian, or I want something healthy, whatever you're looking for. Give it some guidance, and it can filter down those recipes and say, okay, here's some recipes that you could make based on what you have on hand. So it's a step-by-step process that ChatGPT is probably doing behind the scenes of taking the picture, figuring out what you've got on hand, and then comparing that to recipes. And then also take into account your feedback on what kind of food you're thinking about cooking. Something formal, something casual, and filtering those recipes down to the ones that you have ingredients for and the ones that meet your criteria. So there's some complexity happening behind the scenes. But from a user perspective, it's take a few pictures, tell it what you want, and let's see the results. And usually it gives you a few options. So if you want to learn more about how to do that, check out that one. But the general sense I get from ChatGPT, at least in terms of how I've used it, is it can be a huge efficiency boost to your personal life, and as an analyst and data scientist helping you troubleshoot and generate code, huge efficiency boost. So it's maybe worth looking into. And then on the entertainment side, it can be kind of entertaining too. To ask it to create images that are kind of funny, or to ask it funny questions and just see what it comes up with. It can be entertaining. Maybe if you consider that type of thing to be entertaining. So now we've got a whole playlist on some introductions to ChatGPT and AI in general. There's other forms of large language models. I think ChatGPT is probably the most popular one. Okay, the analytics life cycle. I want to say we maybe talked a little bit about this one, but I'll go in a little more depth here. So let's view our playlist here. Gary and I. So Gary and I decided to do this analytics life cycle series, and there's basically 6 stages in your analytics life cycle. Now, not every project is going to go through all of these, but especially for a data science model, you probably would. So we start with data preparation. getting your data set together so it's kind of ready to model. And then we go into data exploration, data mining. And this is one of them that would be optional depending on what the purpose of the project is. But if you're doing time series forecasts, if your goal is to predict something, this is the video that we talk a lot about time series concepts here. And then here we talk about deploying your data science model, whether it's a predictive model or whether it's a prescriptive model, whether it's a time series prediction or whether it's a prediction of what product a customer is going to purchase or which customers are most likely to purchase in general, regardless of what product it is. Any kind of data science model, this productionalization and or deployment model or video would be relevant. And then we also have a video here on once you have deployed those models, monitoring the accuracy and the predictive power of them over time. So consider checking those out if you want to learn more about. We talk a lot of practical examples of data science models and analyses and what it really looks like, what the common challenges you face along the way of performing an analysis or data science model build. We talk a lot about the practical aspects of that in these videos. And then we mentioned this in the college football section. This video can also be found in our college football playlist. But we start with a little bit of a skit where, again, I am facing a challenge and Gary as an analyst, and Gary comes over as an IT person and helps me understand why IT sets up data tables sometimes the way they do. So I hope you enjoy that. We kind of do a debrief at the end there. So just a collaboration between Gary and I that really enjoyed doing that. So check that out. We've got if you're interested in our company, Value Driven Analytics, we provide all kinds of analytics consulting, and we talk about some of the services that we offer and how we're different from a lot of other analytics consulting companies in this 10-minute overview video. So you can meet me, meet my wife, Catherine, and how we together support companies with all kinds of analytics, from interactive dashboards to analyses to data science model builds, automated data solutions, training, even complete analytics transformation. So check that out for more details. We talk a little bit about our announcements for 2024 that we're executing on this year. We talk about our value-driven YouTube membership option that you may or may not want to consider. And then we have a couple of, you could think about them as commercials for our analytics maturity transformation product. And in particular, we have a guide, a 7-step guide to analytics transformation. And so if you are curious about that, we have an ebook that we would love to share with you, and you can either execute on that 7-step roadmap yourself, or you can partner with us. But at the very least, why not get the 10-step guide? It's free. You can just reach out to me at brianamrine@valuedrivenanalytics.com if you'd like that ebook. But these videos are just 3 different illustrations, some maybe creative illustrations for what analytics maturity transformation really looks like. So one uses a dishwashing analogy, one uses a calculator analogy, and another we talk through an hourglass analogy. So we have a little fun with that. Now this is maybe one of my favorite videos because it combines a lot of, especially the funny moments, but some of the more entertaining moments from all these videos. I mean, we have 250 videos or so at this point. So if you wanted to see at least, I don't know how much you'll necessarily learn about analytics and data science through this video, but if you want to see some of the most entertaining parts, the jokes, or just kind of what it's like to watch these videos at a glance, not just looking at one video in particular, but across some of the most popular videos we've done, some of the most popular moments, we bring those together in this 13-minute best of value-driven analytics video. And you can see there's music, some of the clips from our music playlist that we were going through, as well as comedy, from like the SQL comedy video, but also a lot of times I'll start my SQL trainings and some of the other trainings videos with a bit of a joke. And so we take all of those pieces and we bring them all together into one video. That's why we call it the best of value-driven analytics. And then we talk a little bit here about hiring an analytics consultant and some things to look for, just a really short video on that. So, videos about our company, Value-Driven Analytics. All right. One of our specialties, as I mentioned, one of the 8 services we offer is Analytics Maturity Transformation. That is our flagship service. It's something we love to help companies with, and that we have helped multiple companies successfully execute an Analytics Maturity Transformation. And we, for maybe 3 office hours ago, we wrapped up several office hour sessions where we would go through our Analytics Maturity Assessment on our website that you can take for free and get a free PDF that tells you your organization's current level of analytics maturity and how you can improve based on how you answered this survey. All on our website, all for free. You get a free PDF. We have so many resources available to help you with analytics maturity transformation. But if you want to partner with us and help allow us to lead you through that, using our experience successfully transforming multiple organizations from manual, static, a lot of times Excel reporting, to automated interactive dashboards. Now stakeholders can drill into the data on their own. It's saving the analytics team time, so they have more time. They're trained. We train your team on how to pursue proactive advanced analytics. It is a complete transformation, and you're at a whole nother level of analytics maturity, and we guide you through that process. We have a 7-step roadmap, as I mentioned. We've got an article on our website on that. We've got an ebook on that. We have a video on that, and that's actually the starting video right here, Data Analytics Maturity Transformation Roadmap. We walk through those 7 steps. So again, if you want to read about it on our website, you can. If you want our 10-page ebook, reach out to me. I'll send it to you. But if you want to watch and learn about that roadmap, this is the video for you. And then we include those 3 videos that kind of walk through different illustrations of that here as well. And if you want a really quick overview of what analytics maturity really looks like across different levels, we talk through the 3 different levels of analytics maturity, what it looks like to be at a lower level of maturity, some common characteristics of an organization like that, a medium level, and a high level. And also from an analyst perspective, what are some benefits? There actually could be some benefits of working, believe it or not, at a low level of analytics maturity group, company, versus a higher level. There's benefits and a medium level. There's benefits, there's pros and cons of all of those. So for instance, you might be wondering, well, what's the benefit of working at an organization that's not really pursuing proactive advanced analytics, that's doing everything manual? What's the benefit as an analyst of working there? Well, especially if you've had a chance to work at maybe a medium or a high level of analytics maturity organization, that could be your opportunity to make a difference. Versus if you're at a high level of analytics maturity, it's going to be hard to differentiate yourself, and there's not as much, there's still always going to be new opportunities to apply analytics. I don't think I've ever seen a situation where, we've tackled everything analytics. There's no more analytics opportunities here. But boy, there's some low-hanging fruit, and you can really differentiate yourself at a low level of analytics maturity organization. And so this has been my career, and I would say it's been really cool. I'm glad it worked out this way, where I started at a more analytics mature organization, was able to learn a lot, and then eventually go into what were at one time a less analytics mature organization, and be able to take some of the things that I learned, the analytics concepts, and apply them. Right. So if I would have started at a low level of analytics maturity firm, I might have gotten used to doing everything manually in Excel and just never known there was a better way. And then perhaps if I ever moved to a more advanced analytics maturity organization, one, I may have never had that opportunity, because if I interviewed for it, I wouldn't have had the skills for that. But two, when I got there, I might have been a little overwhelmed, because for years and years and years, I was doing it in a certain way, and I may not want to change at that point either. Or the barrier to change might be a little bigger. So I'm glad that I had that opportunity to work at a more mature analytics organization, several of them. So then we have an office hours here where we specifically talk about analytics maturity transformation, and we've done that in a few actually. So we include that in this playlist. So if you're interested, maybe you're thinking about leading, or you know your organization needs an analytics transformation, check out some of these videos, and then consider reaching out to us to talk about it. If you'd like to collaborate, or if you'd like our 10-page free ebook, consider taking our analytics maturity transformation assessment that's on our website. You just go to we'll just go to the website here real quick, and it's right on the front page, so it's very convenient. Yeah, just click here, learn more. And then we'll ask you about 34 questions, should take about 10 minutes, and look out for a PDF in the next few days with a customized report that scores your organization's level of analytics maturity on a scale of 1 to 3, breaks it out by category so you know where to focus, and gives you recommendations based on how you answered these questions of how you can improve specific strategies. And again, you can take this and pursue that analytics transformation on your own, or you can reach out and we can partner with you. Either way, but we're happy to help through that. All right. So we are getting through a lot of playlists today. Of course, we've got our historical analytics office hours. We'll take a look at that here. So sometimes, hopefully that's what the analytics office hours is for, we will answer questions that users have. And so we've had some about analytics career, and some SQL questions, some DAX questions, and Power BI in the past, some more SQL questions as it relates to char index and substrings. Then we spent a lot of time talking through those different questions on this analytics maturity transformation. We went through question by question. I kind of gave a high-level just overview of how you can go from maybe the not ideal answer to that question, most would agree that wouldn't be ideal, to the more ideal solution, and some tips on that. So we spent some time going through those for quite a few office hour sessions. And then in the last two, in the last three, including this one's, we've been talking about different videos we have on our YouTube channel and how those might be able to help you, like we have today. And in this one, I shared a little bit about how I started as a data analyst. That was one of the questions we got. But all of these are designed to answer your questions. So, and then if we don't have questions, we go into a specific topic like we have today, our YouTube channel. But if you want to see historical analytics office hours, that's the playlist for you. We've gone through the finance one, college football, sales, marketing projects, data science, SQL training, and beyond. And I believe if you want to see all of the playlists we have, you just click on Create a Playlist here. And I'm thinking we might have covered off on all of them at this point. Leadership. We may not have gotten to this one. Let's check this one out. All right, so if you just want to see the comedy, the entertaining part, maybe you may or may not consider it to be entertaining, this could be the playlist for you. So we've got our analytics comedy, the case of the colossal calls. We look at a Power BI dashboard, we discovered something was up, and the data detective, the value-driven detective, goes to work figuring out what was driving that. You start with the data, and then you get some clues, and then you dig in, right? That's an analysis for you. So we do that through a little bit of a drama. And have you ever looked at a post-game performance and thought, well, what about analysts? We do an analysis, and some of those days are just long. We're digging into code, we're digging into coding errors, we're troubleshooting things, and we're looking into surprising data. And by the end of the day, we're a little tired. And so here we do what we imagine would be a post-analysis interview. You've got the post-game interviews that you get with most sports teams. What would a post-analysis interview look like? So we do a 1-minute clip on that. Just something kind of funny. Some of the songs that we've done lately, we've talked through. ChatGPT humor, again, looking at whether ChatGPT will ever actually push back. It's so polite. It's so affirming generally. It makes you wonder if they'll ever actually tell you that something's a bad idea. The sequel jokes. A little clip here for our definitive guide to data analytics. The t-shirt size. I'll just sum it up for you. What size does a spreadsheet wear? What t-shirt size does a spreadsheet wear? Excel. There you go. You just got that video right there. And then here's another joke. This is not even analytics related that I do here. And then net present value. This is just a way we open that video. Again, I like to open my videos with jokes a lot of times, so I'll go ahead and give this one away as well. You know, net present value, actually I think I messed that up. NPV is really a gift. That's why they call it net present value. So, present is the gift. You might have heard that before, but applied to net present value. And then, of course, we've got our best of value-driven analytics that brings all these together. So that's our data analytics comedy playlist. If you're just looking for entertainment, that's a great place to start. That being said, I don't know that we went through every video, especially we have a ton of shorts. If you're just looking for really quick clips, if you want to see full-length videos, you can go here and you can look at them by the latest ones that we've published or the most popular or the oldest. You can sort by all of these, latest, oldest, most popular. And for shorts, you can look at the latest or the most popular here as well. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't let you choose the thumbnail for shorts, so you get pictures like this depending on what it selects. Let's just go through here. Oh boy, that is a good one right there. Yeah, that's a very flattering image. We've got lots of these. It seems like YouTube probably picks, I'm sure they have an algorithm to pick these, but sometimes it really makes you wonder how they pick these out. Again, that's a pretty bad one. Let's see. This one just makes you curious, right? What is so exciting in that video? We've got a few PowerPoint slides behind the scenes. Now, sometimes it cuts off certain sections because shorts are meant to be like a phone size here. Okay, this one looks like I'm singing, and some of my videos I do sing, but I don't think that was one of them. So it's just funny sometimes the images it picks up on. Okay, this one's kind of interesting. Makes you wonder about what is that gesture all about? As you can see, we have a lot of shorts here. So if you just are looking for 1-minute clips or less on a really specific concept, you can see a high-level overview of what it's about in each one of these. Maybe just go through some of these. Oh boy, that's another flattering image right there, and I just look angry there. And wow, yeah, some of these, there's a lot of angry ones here. I don't think I was angry at the time. That is an interesting pose right there. Wow. Again, I don't know how the algorithm comes up with what it decides to put as the thumbnail here. Oh boy, this might be the best one. I mean, I don't know. I look like I'm about to take a bite out of something, or just look a little upset there. So most of them aren't too bad, but there are some interesting ones, interesting thumbnails that YouTube chooses. Again, I don't have control over that. But if you want to just see some quick clips, you might go through some of the shorts. And then if you want to see the full length ones, really your core learning ones, those you can check out in the videos section here. All right, well, we've been talking about this for, let's see, the last 3 videos. We've been going through our videos, so now you should have a pretty good overview of the different types of videos we make available on the channel, and maybe give you an idea for which ones you want to check out. And if you have any questions about anything, feel free to reach out. If you have any recommendations on new videos to do, feel free to leave a comment, and I'll try to take that into consideration. But I appreciate you joining today, and if you're watching this in the future, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great week, and enjoy your day. Bye.